empty except for a lone figure sitting cross-legged in the dead center. Seriously, he thought, could this Scream Boss room any louder? The room's only occupant was covered head to toe in red scales. Its hands and feet were tipped with claws. Barefoot and bare-chested, it held a round shield in its left hand and a scimitar in its right. A thick tail rested on the floor behind it, and its face was a long crocodile-like snout. Its eyes, which had been closed, snapped open to reveal piercing, snake-like yellow pupils. It rose slowly to its feet, facing him. Lizardman Bloodguard Special Elite Monster. Reptile level 12 HP 4,800. The stats popped up in his god eye. Special Elite? Did that mean it was a higher rank than the skeleton captain he'd fought before? Just from its stance, he could tell this thing wasn't slow like the skeleton captain. The kiting trick that worked back then wouldn't fly here. On top of that, its HP was massive, roughly 4 times a normal monster of the same level. And those crimson scales, plus the shield, its defense had to be insane too. This was already giving him a headache. Before he could even begin to form a strategy, it shot toward him with terrifying speed. His magic shield flashed into existence just as the lizardman vanished mid-lunge. He stood there, completely stunned. A prickle of danger shot up his spine. He spun around just in time to see the lizardman already swinging at him. His short sword came up on instinct, meeting the monster's scimitar with a sharp clang. The parry held, but the sheer force of the blow sent him stumbling backward. A red -56 popped up over his head. Shock jolted through him. He was 2 levels lower, sure, but he had another high-level class. His total attributes should have dwarfed a level 12 creature's. Yet its speed and strength were overwhelming him. The hit wasn't as bad as the one from the skeleton captain, but the lizard man's speed made it a whole different level of danger. He was still finding his footing when the monster lunged again. He threw up his magic shield, but this time, he tracked its every move. Just as it closed in, its body became a blur. In the corner of his eye, a red shadow shot over his head. He whirled around to see the monster land a few feet behind him. Holy crap, what a jump! The lizard man was already spinning, its scimitar slashing at him. This time, Adrian was ready. He dodged with a quick jump back. The second the scimitar whistled past his face, he lunged forward with a power strike. The blow slammed into the round shield on the lizard man's left arm, but the monster didn't even flinch. It answered with 2 lightning-fast slashes. His magic shield caught the first, but the second came too fast. The blade sliced across his hip. A sharp, stinging pain flared as he scrambled back. Another 79 HP gone. The fight hadn't even lasted a minute, and he'd already lost a quarter of his health. The monster gave him no time to breathe. Pressing forward with a brutal flurry of slashes, Adrian was forced onto the defensive, blocking what he could with his magic shield and parries, but he was losing ground and health fast. When the onslaught finally let up for a second, he saw an opening and lunged, slamming a power strike into the monster's torso. But its scales were like natural armor. His short sword screeched against them like it was hitting sheet metal, leaving nothing but a faint scratch. The damage was a pathetic 32, not even 1% of its total HP. This is bullshit, he thought. He did everything he could just to stay alive, even popping 2 health medicines mid-fight, but his HP bar kept dropping, and he could only land a hit or two between the monster's relentless attacks. He was going to run out of health long before he could even take off 10% of its HP. I gotta get out of here. He started backing away, focusing all his attention on blocking with his shield and sword. When his back hit the door, he threw his weight against it, praying it was the kind of boss that wouldn't chase him out of its room. It was locked. Oh no. Am I locked in? Is this it for me? He thought, his heart pounding. His eyes darted around. He saw a card reader next to the door, just like the one at the entrance. Then he spotted it. Another door on the opposite side of the room, slightly ajar. Crap, wrong door. He cursed himself. In the heat of the fight, the symmetrical room had gotten him turned around. His health was critical now. He could maybe take 1 or 2 more hits, and only if he timed his blocks perfectly. The monster charged, ramming him with its round shield. He got his magic shield up, but the impact still slammed him into the door. The blow chipped away at what little health he had left, and his body went numb. Seizing the opening, the lizard man raised its scimitar high for the finishing blow. Adrian grit his teeth, ignoring the shooting pain in his back. He threw himself to the side just as the scimitar came crashing down, missing him by a hair. He rolled across the floor and scrambled to his feet, casting energy bolts as he got up. The best part about energy bolts was that they were homing. No aiming required. He didn't even look back. He was already sprinting for the other door. He heard 4 heavy thuds as the bolt slammed into the creature. It wouldn't do much damage. The impacts were enough to make the lizard man stagger, buying him a precious few seconds. But the room was huge. Before he was even a third of the way there, he heard the lizard man's heavy footsteps pounding the floor behind him. It was incredibly fast. He was lucky he'd put some points into dexterity. Otherwise, the monster would have been on him before he even made it halfway. He sheathed his weapons, pouring every ounce of his energy into running. There was no point in fighting anymore. Just as he reached the door, he could hear the monster's hissing breath right behind him. He grit his teeth and dove. He crashed through the doorway, the door swinging open violently from the impact. He tumbled onto the floor outside, rolling several times before skidding to a stop. He scrambled back to his feet, ready to dodge again, but the lizard man was gone. Peeking back through the open doorway, he saw the lizard man calmly walking back to the center of the room. He sat down on the floor, and just like that, everything was exactly as it had been before he walked, as if nothing had happened. He let out a huge sigh of relief, his shoulders slumping as he saw the monster was no longer hostile. So, it only attacks if someone enters the room, he thought. He was about to drink a medicine when he noticed his health was already ticking back up on its own. He remembered his natural body recovery skill, which automatically healed him outside of combat. This way, he wouldn't have to burn through his medicine supply. He put the bottle back in his inventory for an emergency and sat down to rest. Wait a minute, I can use this to my advantage, he said out loud. He thought about it. He hadn't done much damage, but he had wounded him. If he went back in after he'd healed up, fought until his HP was low, and then ran out again, he could slowly chip away at the boss's health. He laughed. Just you wait, you overgrown lizard. I'm gonna turn you into skewers. He grinned, totally stoked about his new plan. As he rested, his stamina and mana recovered way faster, thanks to the hearty stew he'd eaten earlier. He wished he could find a recipe for a food that boosted his health recovery, too. After about 15 minutes, his HP bar was finally full. He pulled out his weapons and charged back into the room, brimming with confidence. The lizard man stood up the second it saw him. The red health bar above its head was completely full. You've got to be kidding me, Adrian yelled. The monster had natural recovery, too. The second the lizard man charged, Adrian scrambled back out of the room. Just like clockwork, the monster turned around and stalked right back to its starting spot. So, should he just give up? Adrian's stomach dropped. He could always come back later when he was stronger, but what if the clues he was looking for were gone by then? Traces like this didn't stick around forever. He had to weigh the risks. There wasn't even a guarantee the clue would be here, even if he somehow managed to take down this boss. He peeked into the room again. The lizard man was sitting there with its eyes closed, looking exactly like it did when he first got here. He glanced past the monster to the door on the far side of the room, the one he'd originally thought was the entrance. He figured the reward for beating the lizard man was probably whatever was behind that door. Then he noticed the card reader next to it looked identical to the one out here. The administrator key card he had should work on it, right? Could he open the door without a fight? The monster didn't follow him out of the room, so in theory it should leave him alone once he was through the door on the other side. He thought about it for a minute. It was worth a shot. If he couldn't get the door open, he'd just bail and come back when he was stronger. The trick would be getting to that door and using the card reader while the lizard man was all over him. The creature was way too fast and ferocious to just let him stroll on by. He ran through his options, replaying the short fight in his head and picturing a few ways it could play out. After a couple of minutes, he opened his character screen and dumped all his free attribute points into dexterity. His goal wasn't to kill the monster anymore, just to be fast enough to use the card reader and get through that door. Every little bit of speed was going to count. Once he was ready, he took a deep breath, ran the plan through his mind one last time, and stepped back into the room. As expected, the lizard man sprang to life the moment his foot crossed the threshold, charging him without a second's hesitation. Adrian summoned his magic shield. The instant the monster was in range, it unleashed a blur of slashes. Its speed was terrifying. But after their first round, he was starting to get a feel for its attack patterns. He blocked every strike with a combination of his magic shield and the parry skill. He still lost some HP, but it was nothing major. He focused entirely on defense, not even bothering to attack. The monster darted left and right, probing for an opening, but Adrian's defense held solid. Then, suddenly, the lizard man vanished. This was it. He spun around just as the lizard man's scimitar came swinging at him. The monster had used this trick before. Every time it teleported behind him, It followed up with a strike to his